So I just want to take a few minutes to show you guys what we have growing out here in the garden. It's getting later in the season. I realized I hadn't actually taken you all out here to look at what we have going on. Along the edge here, we've got black beans. Those are ones we put in probably a month and a half ago. And they're really starting to get a lot of pods on them now at this point. They do run up the side of the fence. So that was an idea here, putting them here. You can see some are doing better than others. We've had some little walnut saplings that I think are doing a little bit of damage on the growth with the jug loan that they put out, but overall we're still getting some good growth here on some of these. Down a little bit further, we've got green beans that we planted here. These are just bush beans, and those have started putting on some. These are also a later planting as well, and quite a good amount of beans in here, so be a nice late crop for that. The original set of beans we put in were purple ones. They've been done for a few weeks now. Next up, we've got sweet potatoes in here. Haven't really kept up with any sort of weeding in there, only pulled out larger ragweed and things like that, but we've picked out a couple of these so far and they've been pretty good size. Up here, some yellow squash that we put in later in the season as well. The original crop we put in got a lot of vine borers, didn't do a whole lot, but we've had some good success with these. So we've been putting a lot of it into the freezer for winter eating and been really excited about that. Lots of good stuff in here, so it's been very exciting to see that finally come in. It's one of those good tastes of summer that we weren't really getting to enjoy as much as usual. But by putting in that later crop, it definitely helped. And then we get into our peppers here. A lot of these are actually mild ones. So one that might look a little bit familiar is these orange ones down here. These are actually habanadas. So it's like a habanero, but they've pretty well bred out the heat from it. So those are actually quite delicious even on salads. Definitely recommended if you don't like the heat, but you like the flavor. We like the heat as well as the flavor, or at least I do. Not everyone in my family likes it as much, so grow some of those for uses like salads and things. But we also have the hot ones that I like to put in my hottest salsa that we make. Got a lot of red shishitos here. We actually just made some hot sauce out of these today. So I wouldn't really say it's that hot. It's pretty mild, but a good flavor to it. Have all sorts of peppers in here. And we've had so many pepper plants that we really don't even harvest them when they're green, even if they're one that is good when green, because we just have so many that we might as well wait until they're fully mature. We don't feel any need to rush on any of that. We have had far more peppers than we need, so they have done extremely well, partly because peppers just have seemed to grow well in our area, but also this is that area that I put all of that compost into. So the main benefit that I've noticed, other than just a little bit more fertile of soil, is that any weeds that we have in here are just extremely easy to remove, and we don't have to fight them very much. So that's why this area is actually a lot more clean than most of the rest of the garden, is this is where we had all that compost put in. And the tomatoes, we're getting some benefit from that too. I think we put them a little tighter than we should have, so we'll probably try and space them a little bit more, but we have definitely had plenty. We often, from a week, will pull in 20 or 30 cups of sauce worth, at least in weeks past, maybe not as much now, but we have already put away about 84 pints of salsa, and we made some pizza sauce as well and got that canned up. So definitely been plenty of tomatoes. We've also grown a lot of ground cherries, and a lot of these just need cleaned up at this point. The plants are pretty well done. But if you've never had ground cherries, I recommend them for sure. I'll probably make a video next year at this point on these and show you how we make our ground cherry salsa. Here's actually a better looking ground cherry plant here. So they come on here like this. They've got a husk similar to a tomatillo, and as they get ready, they actually shake off down here. So you see these guys here. You just pop them out of that and collect those up, and They make just delicious salsa if you're wanting kind of a fresh tropical pico kind of a taste. These are definitely a good bet for that. So that's what we have along the back here. I planted some additional cucumbers at this point because some of the main cucumbers we have that were doing really well earlier on have since died. They usually just don't last the whole summer no matter what I do with them. So they just kind of last as long as they're going to last. We get a lot of crop out of them. We make some pickles. And then after that, I just plant succession planting. It's a lot easier to just plant a few more seeds than it is to try and keep them alive the entirety of the summer, at least for me. We've had a lot of zucchini just from this one hill. Unless we have large plans of giving it away, I try and restrict this just to one hill because of the amount of zucchini that you can pull out even from one. Been getting some good butternut squash that's curing and hopefully be really well set for having some of that in the winter. So pretty excited about that. Had just a few pumpkins in here that we've pulled out. One really nice looking orange one. If nothing else, it'll at least be a really nice jack-o'-lantern. We've had a few watermelon, but not a lot of success with those this year. This ground out here didn't really have much in terms of compost, and this year I definitely plan as fall goes on, we're gonna mow all this down and cover it with as many leaves and grass clippings as we can and continue that composting in place that really benefited us over in that area of the garden. So I think that definitely made a difference on how well everything grew over there. Still got some popcorn that we're drying out. A few stalks of that left. We already harvested all the sweet corn that we had back here. So that's all that's left there. Along this fence over here, we were actually growing Kokoza gourds. And these things are just amazing. If you think you have too many zucchini, just try growing Kokoza gourds. And these things can get about 3 foot long, and you'll be able to feed a bit larger of a family than you're used to if you're used to zucchini. So these are fun. They start out real small like this, start getting longer, and they can really grow to a very large size. We're saving this one here for seed, so letting it go a bit longer than most, but those are just ridiculous and fun. I really like to have them fried in cornmeal. I think it's delicious. Taste is somewhat similar to cucumber and zucchini, somewhere in between there. Obviously they're on the decline a bit, but as you saw, some younger ones, they're still coming in, and we're already in October. I'm not gonna fight for these to survive any longer, especially when they still even have some nice clean leaves in here. They're still putting fruit out. They don't need to be perfect. They're making plenty of food even still. But overall, it's been a really productive year this year. I can only imagine as years go on, we're gonna have so much more abundance out of this as we learn how to manage it better, as we add in additional compost and other nutrients into all of this. It's just gonna explode and probably be way more than we actually need to grow each year. But it's very exciting to see how each year it's gonna improve. But if you wanna check out how I've been making this garden fence, check this out here. And if you want to see how I made this compost and spread it, check out these videos here. Thanks for watching.